To it. So, hello and welcome back to the Top Experts League. This is game number 4 in the group stage between Mr. Yo and Bagiofro. Thank you everyone for tuning into the stream so far. This has been a fantastic stream today. We reached 2,300 live stream viewers earlier on for the ZeroEmpires Invitational Grand Finals, which is an all-time record, which was awesome. And thanks for sticking around. If you haven't already, do follow the stream, because I will be doing a 12-hour live stream fairly soon, and it's going to be full of Age of Empires to goodness. But anyway, Mr. Yo, Bagiofro, all of that stuff. Mr. Yo over there in the blue, you saw him already. Bagiofro up to the north of the map in the orange, playing as the Aztecs. Mr. Yo coming up in the blue as the Mayans. Sorry for a little bit of a botched intro there. I always forget I have my little name tags sliding in from the right, and yeah, I kind of forgot that was going to happen and ended up looking at Mr. Yo for a little bit too long, but hey. So we've got an Aztecs versus Mayan war on Arabia here. And it should be pretty exciting, actually, because land maps are really where it's at. You know, as much as I love the occasional water map, I love playing water maps so much. They are my favorite maps to play. But in terms of watching, land maps are where it's at. A lot more early action, a lot more engaging action, and a lot more variety in unit choice as well. So the nice thing about the Aztecs versus the Mayans is that they are both Meso civilizations, and they are both unique, but also they do share quite a few characteristics, and that is of course the Eagle Warriors, which may be a feature in this game. Now, we will talk about that a little bit more as we go on, but basically, yeah, we'll have a look at their maps first, we'll talk a little bit about their civilizations, and we will no doubt siege rush at the 6-minute 30 mark. So, we've got 3.5 minutes to have a look at their map and see what it's all about. So, Bagiofro first. He has got a gold at the left of his TC, which is looking fairly open, but if you come down here a little bit more, this cliff face could provide a nice easy wall for him on the left side, and you never know, he might decide to build out here as well. It's quite far from his town centre, but it would certainly keep a good chunk of his economy back here safe, and this is a very valuable area of the map for him, with having a gold and stone together right here. They are together forever. Gold and stone, they love each other. But his berries are at the front, which is rather unfortunate, because that is very easy to drush and hit and run the villagers on the berries here. Though he does have a back wood, which is much nicer, and you don't really want to have a forward wood, because that of course is once again much more susceptible to raiding. However, this is a normal Arabia map. It's not dry Arabia, so we have got ponds here, we've got little oases, which is rather unfortunate for the players here, because oases can really mess you up and get in the way. For Mr. Yo, he doesn't actually have any oases on his main area, and in fact Mr. Yo's map's looking pretty nice in the back. He's got a very easy wall on this left-hand side. He's got a very nice, safe back wood. And his berries aren't too far from his town centre, though they are off to the right slightly. However, Mr. Yo has got much worse gold. It's right out on the front here. It's just going to be a little bit difficult for him to wall off the very front. He could wall off this side, but again, it's going to be difficult to cover this whole area at the front here, and that could make gathering gold a little bit of a difficulty for Mr. Yo, when we consider that the meta game here is telling us that we will be seeing a drush coming in from Bagiofro, and we will see that any moment, I am sure. He's got the 4 villagers on the wood, which is very signature, and of course Mr. Yo with actually 5 villagers on the wood for now, and we're approaching that 6-minute 30 mark, so we'll see that drush coming in fairly soon, I'm sure. Now, the problem here is that with the Aztecs, you pretty much always will drush as the Aztecs on an open map, and that's because they do have that extra gold to start with. 100 gold, as you can see, and not having to spend any gold at all on Loom, because they get that absolutely free. Now for Mr. Yo playing as the Mayans, of course, he has to spend that 50 gold on the Loom, and that means that he's down a little bit of gold, and he will have to defend from a drush from Bagiofro, and not just any drush. Bagiofro will do a 5 militia drush, plus his Eagle Warrior, which makes 6 military units, and Mr. Yo will only be able to make 3 militia, and that's if he does take 10 gold as well. So Now, in a lot of situations, the Aztec player will do a drush, and the Mayan player will just react to that by drushing themselves. And indeed, Mr. Yo gonna put up a barracks on the left side here and start making some militia as well, which is great. So, obviously, he will be able to defend the drush here, but you can see already that Mr. Yo's walling is quite ambitious. He's having to wall quite far from his town center, and this is going to take quite a bit of villager time. It's going to take quite a bit of resource as well, a lot of wood, of course, and that will explain that fifth villager on the wood back here. So Mr. Yo really extravagant walling all the way out on the right side. It's unusual to see him walling that much, but if he wants to keep his gold safe, he has to do that, because, as I said, with BacT doing a surefire drush here, that gold could be completely denied from Mr. Yo, and if BacT had his laming boots on, he could quite easily wall that up, like we saw Spring do to Hallis in the grand finals of the ZeroEmpires Invitational. So this is a really nice matchup anyway, Mayans versus Aztecs, and the reason it's nice, as I said, they both have fantastic Eagle Warriors. They are really good units, really good infantry units, but they both excel in slightly different ways. Now, the Mayan player, typically speaking, will want to go for Plumed Archers, and Plumed Archers are great because they actually have an attack bonus against Eagle Warriors, which is, of course, a fantastic thing to have if your opponent is mostly going to be making Eagle Warriors. So Mayan Plumed Archers are always very strong, and if you mix them with some Plumed Archers as well, they will be fantastic. However, the Aztecs do tend to have a bit of a better economy. Now, the Mayans do have 20% longer lasting resources, but they don't have the farm bonus that the Aztecs have, and that can allow the Aztecs to do a much faster Imperial time, and with that, they can do a really strong, fast, elite Eagle Warrior flood, and basically just catch their opponent with their pants down, effectively, causing a ton of trouble. So, it's usually very interesting to see how a Mayan war versus Aztec war shapes up, and Mr. Yo so far doing a really nice drush here. He's only got 3 militia against the 3 from BacT. He only has the 3, but he's doing good work here, pushing villagers away from the stone, forcing BacT to quick wall up this gold pile, which is quite far away from his TSE, like we pointed out earlier on, causing him a few problems. Now, interestingly enough, BacT did only make 3 militia here, and you can see he will have 60, well, he has got 60 gold. Would have had 40 after making these 3 militia, but sometimes it is more common, well, more often than not, it is the case that Aztec players will make 5 militia, but BacT not doing that at all. We'll see if he goes for man-at-arms. Indeed, he will man-at-arms on 15% from the barracks there, as he will no doubt bust through this palisade wall and use his forward villagers to try and take advantage of his position here. So it looks to me like BacT is getting very aggressive now, and we're waiting for that man-at-arms upgrade to come in. Of course, Mr. Yo just going to quickly wall behind this, whilst he makes his drush very, very effective back at BacT's base. Now, the main issue here is that BacT has been pushed away from the stone, and being pushed away from the stone is not ideal when you're coming forwards with watchtowers and you're trying to do an aggressive tower push. BacT can only afford 1 tower for now, and until these militia leave him alone, he can't take stone comfortably, which is obviously very unfortunate for him. So the tower will go up, and I don't think that will hit the gold mine. It might hit 1 villager here, but it will certainly allow BacT to get through these walls a little bit more comfortably. But it is costing BacT a little bit of villager time, and I'm starting to wonder if this is really going to pay off for him. BacT investing in some stone walls to keep his villagers safe on the stone. And Mr. Yo now about to go up to the feudal age on 34 population, which is interesting because you would assume that he would try and go up a little bit faster here. But this tower from BacT so far, so good, and he has of course forced Mr. Yo to build the defensive tower, but he's really lost a lot of momentum. The walling from Mr. Yo was great, and it meant that Mr. Yo has been able to buy himself enough time to get up to the feudal age, get that tower up of his own, and begin now to probably switch into archers, I imagine. Though saying that, he's taking a little bit more stone at the back, and he will actually be building more defensive towers to prevent BacT from pushing in at all, really. So of course Badgerfro is going to try and get through these walls, but of course if he's unsuccessful in doing this, it will cost him quite a lot. And Badgerfro, well, Mr. Yo even needs to get inside of this watchtower and start killing these villagers off, but they have been left to get away, rather unfortunately for Mr. Yo. So Badgerfro at the moment looking a little bit behind, I've got to say. It's certainly not looking the best, but he's started that archer production now, and Badgerfro with just 2 villagers taking gold. It's not a huge amount at all, actually, and Badgerfro, it seems, in fact, going to do a fast castle? No, okay. I thought he was, because he's doing a blacksmith. He's only got 1 archery range. But then again, he is making more archers, so doing a fast castle would be kind of stupid, let's be honest. But he is sending more villagers over to gold now at long last, and he's continuing to keep the pressure on over here. Mr. Yo continuing to build those defensive towers, and so far it is working quite well, let's be honest. They are pretty much keeping Badgerfro out for now. Badgerfro, of course, going to try and work his way in, but these towers will do considerable damage to them, and more towers from Mr. Yo keeping him safe, reading the game very well, in fact, and even stonewalling up on this left-hand side to make sure that no towers can come up there and catch him off guard. So really, really well played by Mr. Yo so far, able to defend this one very nicely, where a lot of people would certainly panic from these towers. The only downside, really, for Mr. Yo with this forward aggression is that it is making it a little bit more difficult to access these gold piles outside of his base, but that won't really be a problem at the moment anyway, because he has got this gold here, which is safely now protected by these 2 watchtowers, and eventually this tower will get taken down by Mr. Yo's towers as well. So Mr. Yo putting up a market, and I'm still not seeing an archery range from him. Of course, we are seeing a barracks from him, but no archery range at the moment. And this is really interesting because it seems like Mr. Yo is playing this one really passively. He's willing to accept the fact that Badgerfro is pressuring him, and he's just putting up some watchtowers and letting it be and stonewalling it up. And I think he's gonna stonewall and go up to the castle age, to be honest with you. That's the way I see it going at the moment, because this aggression from Badgerfro is really being quite ineffective. I mean, both of them are having to take a bit of stone, which is alright, that's fair enough. But the archers that Badgerfro is creating, or the archers he's making, are really not going to have any use at the moment. They're not going to be able to get in, they're not going to get through the stone walls. They're not going to be able to push in at the front because the tower's from Mr. Yo. And now Mr. Yo's continued to stonewall it up. He can safely go up to the castle age here. And I think what he'll do is he'll go up to the castle age and put up a castle, you know, maybe right here, or, you know, if he can get it a little bit further out here, maybe it would be perfect, because he could take down those towers with the castle then. And then he'll just start on plumed archer production. It's the most logical choice at the moment, and a castle would of course allow him to push out, break out, and he can retake map control fairly comfortably, because look at Badgerfro's base. He is very open, he's hardly fully walled, and obviously plumed archers could just get in here, get behind this wood line, start hitting these villagers, and that would be very, very costly indeed. However, Badgerfro, he's not stupid. He knows what's up. He's seen the stone walls. He's seen the very, very little aggression from Mr. Yo so far. And he has clicked up to the castle age as well now in a much better time. 25% of the way up, and Mr. Yo still hasn't clicked up yet, though he will click up after this villager. So Badgerfro getting up to the castle age a little bit quicker, and of course he will be switching into, well, not really switching into, but continuing archer production and going on with the crossbows here. Now, in the castle age, it's more effective to make archers and crossbows than it is to make eagle warriors. The crossbows cost less, and they are pretty effective against plumed archers, though they aren't the best. Obviously, a plumed archer will beat a crossbow 1v1. But for now, going for crossbows for Badgerfro is absolutely fine. And in doing so, he'll save himself a bunch of food, and he'll spend less gold than he would if he makes eagle warriors, which will of course allow him to do a decent imperial time, which is what it's all about really with the Aztecs. They do really come into their own once they get up to the imperial age in these kind of matchups. So at the moment, both of them just going up to the castle age, and Mr. Yo 50%, Badgerfro on 86% at the moment, and he's just got this really nice surround on Yo at the moment. which is not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, he's not really done much damage, but the surround is useful to him, that's for sure. It's going to allow him now to have that map control, and it's going to allow him to pretty comfortably pressure this. He could put up a siege workshop on the front and start making some mangonels to combat the future plumed archers, or even start taking down these watchtowers if he likes as well. So I think a mangonel on the front would be useful. Sorry, a siege workshop on the front would be useful for Bagiofro. But there's the crossbow upgrade, there's the bodkin arrow upgrade, and we've only got one archery range for Bagiofro still, which is pretty interesting actually. Only one range still, and no second TC for Bagiofro yet either. And this is weird because he's got so many villagers on gold. You'd kind of think that he would be having 2 or 3 ranges up with that many villagers on gold, but no. He's just stockpiling it up for now and building the siege workshop on the front like we predicted. So there's the castle from Mr. Yo. Not going up in a risky location at all. He's not going to put it up here. He's going to put it up on the left side, and that's going to be okay, though it is at the bottom of a hill, which is less than ideal. You really don't want to be building your buildings at the bottom of hills, because the attack bonus from attacking downhill will take those castles down very, very quickly. And that castle, if it gets to the Imperial Age, will go down much quicker from trebuchets up here than it would if the castle was higher up. But let's be honest, Mr. Yo doesn't have much other choice at the moment. He has to put the castle somewhere, and that is the most logical location for now, as it's kind of out the way. So yeah, I mean, Bagiofro really looking like he's got a good surround on Yo here. Yo unable to break out of these walls at all, but he's really hoping now with this castle that he's going to be able to get some plumed archers out. Now, plumed archers create at twice the speed of crossbows even. So a plumed archer will be created in half the time of a crossbowman. And Bagiofro has only 1 archery range. So Mr. Yo is doubling Bagiofro's production of military at the moment just by having a single castle here. It's certainly worth the investment. And of course the plumed archers are incredibly strong as well when they fight against other archer units. So we will see how this one goes. Bodkin arrow has been done for Mr. Yo, so he's got that +2 attack and range as well. But Bagiofro with this surround looking a little bit menacing for the time being. But there's a ram for Mr. Yo, and these towers will go down very quickly because they don't have anything protecting them at all. There is no protection here, there is no walls, there is nothing. And this ram will just saunter on in here and take these towers down without a moment's hesitation. So on the left side, Bagiofro is starting to mass up these crossbows. But like I said, I'm very concerned. He's actually really not in great shape at the moment in this game. He might have the score lead, but I mean, his economy looks pretty weak. He's not really got that 3rd TC up yet. He's not got a huge amount of military production, still sitting on the 1 archery range and relying mostly on these mangonels, which at this level of play is difficult to do. You cannot rely only on mangonels at this level of play because it's unlikely your opponent's going to slip up and be out-microed by them. Out-microing mangonels takes a little bit of practice, but at this level, at the very highest level of Age of Empires play, micromanagement is at an all-time high, and keeping your units out of the reach of the mangonel is not too difficult for these players to do. So that ram goes down, but the towers go down as well, and that's pretty much it. I mean, Mr. Yo's broken out here. He's just choosing not to really push completely out, though he is sending a few plumed archers over, and we'll see just how quickly they deal with these crossbows. It's absolutely nothing for them to take these crossbows down. +1 defense on these guys as well, and Mr. Yo going to be looking for some villager kills here wherever he can. Now, he doesn't have ballistics at the moment, so it's going to be a little bit more inaccuracy for him. But that's not really a problem for now. I mean, he's just going to be getting in there and try and pick off villagers wherever he can. He could even run them through the TC, because these guys with 2 pierce armor able to withstand just a little bit of town center fire. Though it's not a good idea to sit any unit under a TC for too long, to be honest with you. So, the left side, Bagiofro is still making some more mangonels by the looks of things. And Mr. Yo making some mangonels of his own in defense. And now we've got a TC coming up at the front as well. And Mr. Yo has to hit this mangonel now, otherwise this TC will go down. But man, that's a hill bonus. That's a hill bonus. Mr. Yo just on the edge of that hill there. That must have counted as a hill bonus because BacT did not take that mangonel down in one shot like he should have done. And instead, they both took each other out in the end. And now, of course, Mr. Yo going to have to deal with this castle quickly with these plumed archers. Can he do it? I think he might just be able to, you know. He's got the numbers he needs here. And of course, these are not just any archers. They are plumed archers. They have +1 defense. And BacT quickly abandoning that castle as more plumed archers come in from Mr. Yo, and they're going to head those archers, these villagers right off. Though, yeah, there we go. He's going to go straight for them. Those villagers getting cut down, and BacT losing all hope of this castle going up by the looks of things. Meanwhile, BacT building his 3rd TC down here. Maybe that's why I never saw it. He built it in a really, really weird location. And I don't care who you are, but microing against 3 mangonels is no easy feat. We could see some pretty impressive moves from Mr. Yo here as he splits, ducks, dips, and dives his plumed archers all around the place. But yeah, I mean, this forward town center from BacT is just weird, man. I don't know what that's about. But the thing is now, Mr. Yo's retaking map control, and this castle, these plumed archers, that's all he needs. I mean, these guys are fantastic. They're quick, they're agile, and they just pack a punch. They really do. That extra health as well, really giving them an edge over the traditional crossbowman. 35 health compared to the 50 of the plumed archer. 5+2, 5+2. But the extra pierce armor as well that the plumed archers have makes a huge difference. And of course that speed, like I mentioned just a moment ago. So Mr. Yo really pushing out now. And he's retaking that control. He's got a 2nd castle on this right-hand side. And that's really nice, in fact, because that means double plumed archer production. And BacT still sitting on a single archery range. There is no way he can outproduce Mr. Yo here. I don't understand why he's on the one range. He is really investing a lot into the mangonels, but he needs some support for them. Otherwise, they will just get picked off whenever they are left alone. So, BacT at the moment, not looking in the best position in the world. Though he is getting up that, well, he's getting his economy running nicely. Mr. Yo, though, taking down that wall, and he's going to work his way in. Going to be looking for some more villager kills wherever he can find them. And, of course, that won't be directly under this TC, as BacT garrisons inside. But this is quite a big disruption to BacT's eco. And as I said earlier this game, BacT really very far from being fully walled here. Which is a pretty big deal, to be honest with you. Not having those walls, allowing your economy to be wide open like this, just allows your opponent to give you the runaround. And Mr. Yo getting in at this front side, looking for get to the lumber camp. Backside, he's managing to pick off some villagers over at the gold camp there, though get a little bit close to that town center. And look at this, BacT try to take these units down with this mangonel, but Mr. Yo is having none of it. He's just killing the villagers, microing out the way, and getting a little bit cheeky there as BacT finishes these guys off. And wow, Mr. Yo throwing a lot of units away there for, let's be honest, pretty little, to be honest. I mean, that is really not a very good trade for him, in fact. I mean, I know the plumed archers are dirt cheap, but he didn't trade that well there in the end. Getting caught out by those mangonels as Mr. Yo finds it very difficult to micromanage against 2 mangonels at the same time, and it is no easy feat to achieve. So BacT once again now with a little bit more map control, and surprisingly he's still very slow on the military production. He's getting up that 4 TC, and it looks like he just wants to go to the Imperial Age now. I mean, his economy is mostly focused around food at this stage, though he doesn't have much food in the bank, food and wood that is, though he doesn't have much food in the bank. It's okay, because he's going to have a lot more very soon, because these guys are going to be working away on these farms. They are going to be bringing in the food so quickly that he will have 1,000 food in no time. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So where's BacT's gold income? It's really little at the moment, but he's not spending, you know, he's spending very little on his military for now. We're going to see a little bit of a micromanagement war here. BacT getting caught out by the mangonels, but BacT catching out Mr. Yo in the end, taking one down with his mangonel and one down with the crossbow there, as Mr. Yo comes forwards with these plumed archers once again, but he will face into 2 mangonels here. He's got to be very careful because they will do significant damage if he gets caught on the downhill, though at the moment the mangonel's firing uphill, causing Mr. Yo to stay alive for the time being. But he did push a few villagers off this gold, and they would have obviously just died, their skeletons littering the ground there. But Mr. Yo really unable to push completely out. Mr. Yo, though, up to the Imperial Age, I did not expect him to be that fast up to Imperial, because his economy is certainly not as large as Mr. Yo's at this stage, but it is very focused, and his units are very, very cheap as well. You cannot forget that. I say that every time I watch a Mayan war. It's like, don't forget, guys. The plumed archers are very cheap and they're very easy to mass. It's like an old man. You hear me say that every single time, but it's true, and you should not underestimate the power of the plumed archers. They are fantastic. So, Mr. Yo at the moment, he has got a good score lead. In fact, he's got 1,000 score lead, and you might be wondering why. Well, I'm wondering why as well. No, he's traded pretty well. I know he's lost quite a few plumed archers so far, but to be honest with you, he's managed to take down a couple of these mangonels quite comfortably, and losing 5 or 6 plumed archers to a mangonel isn't that much of a big deal, because the mangonels are so much more expensive than the plumed archer in comparison. So, you know, that's really not too bad. But now the elite plumed archer upgrades on the way. Mr. Yo getting out those trebuchets, and I'm not surprised in the slightest that Mr. Yo is opting for the plumed archer strategy here. It makes so much more sense because they do have that attack bonus against the Aztec Eagle Warriors, of course, or any Eagle Warriors for that matter. BacT, though, really preparing for the Eagle Warrior rush, and I am not surprised that he is going down this route. It does make the most sense again, because he doesn't have a real answer to the plumed archers aside from eagles, though they aren't really that much of an answer, which is unfortunate. The real key with the Aztecs is that speed advantage that you should hope to have. Getting up to the Imperial Age first is a huge, huge deal, and BacT at the moment not able to pull that one off, which means he's losing his castle, and he is losing his advantage that he could have had. So Imperial Age upgrade very close, and this is what I was saying about the food. BacT clicked up to Imperial, spent 1,000 food, and he's still got 1,000 food in the bank. He has just got so much food income at the moment. It's kind of amusing to see his economy down here as well, taking a bunch of gold down here, and of course the Elite Eagle Warrior strategy requires a ton of gold as well. I mean, that is huge. The amount of gold you need, 50 gold each, plus the Elite Eagle Warrior upgrade, you're totaling a lot of gold there. And obviously in 1v1s, gold is absolutely the rarest resource on the map. I mean, it's the most valuable and the most rare, so it's really, really vital that you spend that gold wisely and make every bit count, because unless you get some